Welcome to Albany County Direct. I'm your host, County Executive Dan McCoy. On today's episode, we're joined by Nicole Ward, Deputy Commissioner of the Albany County Department of Children, Youth, and Family, DCYF, as I like to call it. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So each year, Albany County DCYF hosts the Youth Recognition Awards. And can you tell me a little bit more about this event and why it's so important to these kids?
So this is absolutely one of my favorite events that we do.
Mine too, by the way. I do enjoy coming when I can make it. I'm so mad when I can't get there because it's great. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we just had it last week. We had a full house. We had 11 youth, and all their friends and family were in attendance. We had one kid that I think brought every person that he absolutely knows. It's just an amazing event. A lot of times I get trapped in my office and I don't get to see the kids and the families. And this one's just my favorite event because I get to actually interact with the kids, talk to them, meet their families, and you just get to see how resilient, how humble, and just how wonderful they are. So
what goes into planning this? And then one of the key things is like the kids that you're recognizing for their achievements and how you select them and what it means to them. And I believe you have like a student that goes from a D to C average. Extraordinary thing, which I think sometimes schools overlook that. Like sometimes it's a huge deal for a lot of kids, like, hey, that are D students or C and they've been struggling and they never get recognized because they're never at the top and they might be close to the bottom or the bottom. They move up a little bit other than a parent or a teacher. And some of these kids don't have parents in their lives. But there's other awards you give out. I want to explain a little bit about the process and what goes into this because I know it takes you all year. You plan it all year. And it's been every time I'm just blown away what your department does with this.
So we have a committee. The committee ranges from about 10 to 15 volunteers that read through the applications. It's really intensive to get the applications out. Our youth bureau director who runs this event literally goes out to every school district and hands out these awards in person.
And unfortunately, some school districts won't participate. They never send anything back, correct?
Correct.
And I'm saying that. I'm not going to call the school out because it gets me heated because, again, we're every student's important. And every student needs an opportunity to be held up and say, hey, look, this is great. And I believe LaSalle High School used to have a pep rally, not for the football players, and that they would bring the kids out in the gym and they'd say, hey, Johnny went from a D average to a C, and really build up that character. And I think and I know schools are have a lot going on. Mm-hmm. Paperwork, everything else, mandatory this, mandatory that. But this is an opportunity to shine on somebody that will that could make the difference in their whole life. It could build a spark inside of them internally to say, hey, look, you know what, this is great, and feel great and have that extra step, when they walk into school. But please talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, so we do. We send this out to all the schools. Our caseworkers recommend students. Other departments within the county, recreation, probation, have nominated students in the past. And like you said, we really want to celebrate the kids who normally wouldn't be recognized. So this isn't your star athlete. We had one year a student who was blind, who was an athlete, and he ran track. Mm-hmm. This is your
awesome
kid in foster care who never went to school, couldn't get the kid to go to school, and now is going to school. And might not be an A student, but they're walking through the door after a difficult childhood and getting to school. This past week we had a nonverbal student that was there, and he won the award for the artistic expression. His artwork was unlike anything I had ever seen. He is on the spectrum. He came in with his headphones on, and when he came up, he actually said thank you, which was a big deal after he received his award, and he kept doing like the thumbs up.
That's awesome because you've actually, again, my previous podcast, you've answered some of the questions I had, with the accomplishments, what qualities stood out. And, for someone that's blind to run, this kid gets to express himself through art, and that's his way into this world. And that's what I love about the work you do all the workers in DCYF, because it's really, again, engaging differently, kind of what we've done with Parks and Rec. It's not all, and I'm not taking away from sports, so I just want to say to families listen to this, and we're not taking away from, any type of sport. But not all kids are into that, and to give them an opportunity to shine in their own way, whether it be chess club that we have, or fishing, or reading, or STEM, or just e-gaming. It's really just finding that niche so they can express themselves in this world. And I love what you're saying, but everyone, and I know you brought up some good ones. Does anyone stands out to you that it has touched you and you said, wow?
So one that really stands out to me is we had a formerly homeless youth who, won the award, then came back and spoke. She was our keynote speaker, and now she works in our department. So she's a caseworker now.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that's one of the ones I'm aware
she's, it's the epitome of, like, you wrap services, you wrap help around this youth, and you carry them up with you. Hopefully maybe one day she's sitting in my seat and she could be the deputy commissioner of the department, and and really she just has a different perspective than someone else might have, and she hopefully she'll work with some of our homeless youth in the future too. But just that's a story that I like to bring up.
And I love you bring this up, and I have said this time and time again. I think education is important. I think if you can have the drive and you finish your associates, your bachelor's, or do it over time, I think it's important. It's important for that person to grow. But it's not everything. Some people just don't have the economic means. They don't have the money, or have never given an opportunity. And you know what I love? And look at, I know that one paper that loves to bust my chops, and they have no idea what type of degree I have or where I'm at. But it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, to me, is what that story that you just said, us giving hope and opportunity to people that everyone just overlooks and doesn't give that opportunity, or they're not qualified, they don't meet the qualifications. Give them a chance, because I assure you, as we have done this time and time, that's just one example of many in the county that we've done. We've never highlighted it, not because we're ashamed, because then people turn their lives around, and that's up for them to say their stories, right? That's up for them to say, hey, I want to make my life, and say, hey, I was homeless, I didn't have a job, I never formally finished school, but they can do the job. This country was built on veterans from World War II that returned home and built the best nation in the world, who couldn't make it through college because PTSD and other issues that they had going on. And we got this great world around us. So I want to say, for anyone out there that owns a company, sometimes you just got to give a leap of faith, give them an opportunity, train them. And if not, I get it. It's not always going to work out. Someone's not going to walk in and be an attorney. Someone's not going to walk in and be a CPA. But there's other things that they can do. Just give them an opportunity, let them shine. You're either gonna float or you're gonna sink, and that's what we do in this county with all our great agencies. And we have the opportunity to take people like this and these extraordinary stories. And I could go through a ton of them. But again, I respect their privacy, and I want to say that the feedback you're just giving is great. But talking about feedback, do you get any feedback from the children and the ones with family that participate? That they have any good, bad? Listen, good, bad. No, we can only fix something if we hear the negative. But I mean, is there anything that you hear that stands out?
I think the families, the kids are just thankful. Like I said, the one nonverbal, he just kept giving us the thumbs up when people were applauding for him. He was like, is this for me? It's just an event that we don't necessarily hear from them, and they don't come back and say that this was great, but they might nominate someone another year, or that teacher that was involved will nominate someone another year and be like, this should be, the other night someone said this should be all over the news. People should see what
and we do. We invite them. We invite the paper. No one shows up, and I get it. It's not. We get so focused on negativity, and I guess that sells to a degree. And it's like, not to tie in the national politics, but we got 3.5 years with this. Either we need to be steady, we need to take deep breaths, we need to get through life, and you can't jump all over everything, right? So the point that I'm saying is that these are great stories to highlight, right? That we can get out to the community and to more schools. And I wish schools would take more time to nominate more people. But how does this event tie into other DCYF larger missions or supporting children?
The whole idea of wrapping children in our care. And through this event, we see them. We get to have eyes on them. We get to support them. We get to help them.
Well, you guys do so many different programs, right? You have the Christmas drive that you do. You're always out in parks reading books or we do fair time. And it's amazing. You did the painting without the sip and paint as other people like to do. But it's awesome. Like you're like, not only we have a mission that you're fulfilling, and at one point in time, we were down like 30 positions. It's hard. It's hard. People don't understand the struggle that we're having trying to hire people. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, pre-COVID, I couldn't give a job away if I wanted to. It was so hard. You had so many civil service regs. You had people that just didn't qualify, or there wasn't enough vacancies. And we had a lot, after this and everything changed and dealing with the state, and it's hard. How do I say to a county worker, come work for us? You're going to work 5 days a week. Go work for the state. You're going to work 2 days and 3 days the following week. You're going to make more money. You don't have to intertwine with anyone. It's brutal. But again, people love working for the county because of the mission, because of the way we interact with people. It's kind of where the rubber hits the road, which I love, because you see the hard work that we do pay off when you see a kid's face, or an outcome of a kid that got adopted for the first time through foster care, or that's in Parsons and they got out of Parsons and they moved on with their life. There's this gentleman that I known a long time, been in office probably way longer than, a long time. And started off at Parsons. Family didn't want him. And now he's like a captain in the National Guard. And to see where he was at and how these programs and DCYF and Parsons really got him on the path, that's what people don't understand. And these are like good stories. Is it going to sell papers? Probably not. Or people on the news? People just want to know that someone's life's worse than they are. And you know what? Life's not that bad, man. Sometimes you just got to take a deep breath, get through the pain and be like, you know what, tomorrow's going to be a better day, and be positive and not worry about someone else's pain and suffering, making yourself feel good. And I see a lot of that, and we don't need that. There's a lot of people out there have a hard time, and this is a great program that DCYF runs, a variety of other programs. So I'm hoping, before we wrap up, what's one message you would like to share besides what I've been saying to the listeners?
Just to piggyback on something you said, our workers are out there working. They were in the field 100% during COVID. They were going into houses. They were transporting kids still. What they do is just outstanding. 365 days a year, 24/7.
Absolutely.
There's no off time. I mean, a child in Albany County dies no matter what you're doing. I was at my daughter's graduation. I got a text. So what they're doing is amazing work, and we are almost full, our department. We're doing a lot of things. So events like this really help build morale, because we invite our workers to events like this. So hopefully we can keep our staff up, because it's a mandated service. It's vital to the community.
And people don't realize that. So like 95% of what we do in the county is mandated by the Senate and Assembly. And, it's not fair at times, because we have to pay for it. And then we can't change a program because it's either state regulated or fed, or both state and fed. And we're told how to run it. And they come up with these great ideas on the statewide level, but they pass the buck down to us. Like, Absolutely. Oh, this is a great idea, but you have to pay for it somehow, county, or people think we have a lot of money. And we've been very frugal. We've done a lot of extraordinary stuff through the county, and worked hard to build up our reserves and do programs like this. And I'm glad what you said. It is a morale builder for the people in there, because you do see the workers. It gets hard. They're out there every day. They're out there in the streets doing their job, and and I can't thank them enough. I love walking through as much as I can. It's tough when I'm running around, but I got to spend more time walking through the departments because it brightens up my day too to see the workers there. They hear the stories, and being appreciative that I'm walking around just to say hello, right? Or giving them better accommodations to work out of, like, the DC or our building, not knowing what our next step's going to be, but making it where, okay, what works for you? And listening to the worker saying, hey, how would you like your office set up? What works? What doesn't work? Co-working space. Do you want to be like that? All the co-working office spaces you see. Do you think you need more of this? Or what tools can I help you with to do your job? So I do want to say thank you to the listeners out there, to any parent that has kids in school. Please get your school involved. Again, I don't want to call them out. There's a variety of schools that do not participate, and it's a difference. And especially the parents out there that, hey, just because your kid's not top of the class doesn't mean they're not special in their own way. And we're here to showcase every kid and kids that are doing well too. So don't get me wrong. But like you said, talking about a kid that paint to express himself, or the kid that runs cross country, blind. These are what we're here for, and these kids wouldn't normally get recognized, and we want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to you and your staff. Thank you for being here, Nicole, and for the vital work that you and your team do. For our listeners at home, if you're interested in learning more about the Youth Recognition Awards or any other programs our Department of Children, Youth, and Family, visit the link in the episode in the description. Also, be sure to check out other episodes on Spotify or Apple Music and subscribe so you never miss an update. Thank you for listening to Albany County Direct. I'm Albany County Executive Dan McCoy.